Okay, we will go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to our esports webinar. This is Micro's #1 webinar out of 4. So we hope to see you guys in the other 3. So starting off, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Tanner Litchfield. I'm the esports specialist here at MicroK12. MicroK12, we've been helping out the education industry for over 35 years with their tech needs. So we're trying to jump into the esports world and help all you guys out. I'm joined here with Charles Reilly, the co-founder of HSEL, the High School Esports League. I'll leave it to Charles later in his presentation to discuss more about what HSEL is. But when you guys have questions, which we encourage, send those over in the chat. We'll have Jackson and McKay answering questions to the best of their ability. If they don't have an answer, we'll send it off to the live Q&A, which will be after our presentations. If you'd rather it be in the live Q&A, you can just hold your question until then, and we'd love to get to all the questions. Awesome. So continuing on, this webinar will cover a few questions. So what are esports? Why should I have an esports program at my school? What are the benefits of esports in K-12 education? And how can I set up a successful esports program? So just as a heads up, I'll be covering the first question and the last question. Charles will also help me out with the first one, and he'll dive a little bit deeper into it. So without further ado, I will introduce a little bit more about what esports are. So esports are highly competitive video games. It can be one-on-one or teams. The teams can range in different sizes depending on the game. And the games are another story. There's a lot of variety in games. There's the popular ones, but the list really does continue pretty deep. Just think of traditional sports, which I'll mention later. There's the popular sports, and then the ones that aren't so popular. So in esports, there's a ranking system, and there's different tournaments. The better you do, the higher you climb in the ranking systems, the more tournaments you win, the more you're recognized. So it's very competitive in this way. People want to be the best, and there's a lot of hype around it. So speaking of the hype, you've probably heard of Fortnite, Call of Duty. There's some big games out there that bring in millions and millions of spectators around the world. There's a platform called Twitch where kids will literally sit and watch others play video games, and it's a huge company that's doing really well. So this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, esports, and the data shows that it's only going to grow more and more. So the education industry, we want to help you guys jump on board before it's too late, because we know that it will become a varsity sport eventually, which I'll get into later as well. So esports at one point is better known as video games, which is known as a hobby. And now really it can be a valuable skill in one's life. You can receive a scholarship, or you can take part in a collegiate esports program. So a lot of students, a lot of kids who probably wouldn't go to college are eager to join an esports program to continue esports, but also to continue their education. They're required to have a certain GPA, a certain attendance, so this really helps and motivate them. You can make up to 7 figures as a professional gamer. I know it seems unreal, but it does happen, and there's a lot of professional gamers out there that make a very healthy earnings that may not be 7 figures, but definitely are living well. On top of that, like I said, esports is a booming industry. It's an emerging industry that is growing and growing. And so with that being said, there's more and more jobs that are coming into play. So having an esports background will definitely help in snagging one of those jobs. Okay, my last part of esports, on the section of what are esports is I want you guys to think of esports like you would a traditional sport such as football or basketball. I say football or basketball because that's what I played. Think of it as soccer, think of it as volleyball, whatever you relate to. But this will really help you understand the potential and understand it to a different degree because there's practices, there's a head coach, there's general managers. So it's weird to think, but it really is a lot like traditional sports. And there's a lot of states that are starting to adopt esports as a varsity sport, which means there's a state championship. You can get a varsity letter. So Washington will be there eventually. We don't know when that's going to happen, but we want you guys to be there when it is. We want your program to start now. So now I am going to turn the time over to Charles to answer those couple questions. I will give you the controls, Charles, and let you take over.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I will
All right.
mute my
All right.
mic for now.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Charles Reilly. I'm a co-founder of the High School Esports League. The High School Esports League is the largest and longest operating competitive gaming organization serving high school students and educators. Over the past few years, we've grown our league to over 3,000 schools, and we've had over 80,000 students sign up on our platform and compete. It's our mission to make esports available to every student as a legitimate varsity level sport in high schools across the nation. But for now, what we do is we run a national league. So if your school were to sign up and get teams in, you would compete at a national level. But we are starting to do more regional based tournaments. So if Washington wants to do a tournament, we can do that for you. We just need to have a minimum amount of schools sign up, say, hey, we're getting together, we want to do these games. Can you run a tournament? Yes, we can. Through organized competition, students will tie their commitment to gaming to their success in academics and future career development. So we see a ton of success stories when a school adopts esports. So you may see it as something that, you know, that's not viable right now, but with what's going on in the world, it looks like traditional sports won't return for a while, but this is a great alternative. More and more schools are approaching us every day to build an esports program for them. We can do that. We'll help out. So I'll have my contact info at the end of this presentation. So reach out to me anytime and I can help build your school's program with you. So recap of last year, we had over 12 games supported. We gave out over $80,000 in scholarships prizing. Over 10,000 matches were played in our league, and we have a reach across 53 states and territories in the US and Canada. So as you can see, we are a very large active league. To touch more on the esports industry, it's huge, $150 billion plus with over 200,000 high paying jobs. And this is only going to grow over the next 3 to 5 years. What we're seeing is more and more colleges are adopting esports, which means more and more people can start their career early, go into that field, and then have a better chance at securing one of these high paid jobs. Esports viewership rivals traditional sports. So the national or the world championships for a lot of these games are killing traditional sports viewership. So you may have never heard of it, but a ton of teens and have, and they're watching. So we've grown this league to over 3,000 schools, high schools, and it's only getting bigger. The colleges are growing as well at the same time. So there's over 2,000 colleges that have at least an esports club, and a lot of these clubs are turning into varsity programs where they're giving out scholarships. So just a few years ago, there was only one school in Chicago giving out scholarships for esports. Now it's up to over 200. Um, and they're giving out, I believe last year they gave over $20 million in scholarships. So a lot of these colleges aren't even looking for the best players. They're just looking for students that are willing to be coached and are willing to be a part of the esports industry. And yeah, you've probably heard of Fortnite. They're giving out Fortnite scholarships as well. So we've seen this in most of our schools, and I like to throw out the stat that 80% of the students that are signing up for the esports programs haven't participated in any other club or sport in their entire academic career. So you will be capturing a lot of students that have nothing else in their lives. And what we see a ton of success stories of kids that were failing classes, not showing up to school. As soon as the school adopted an esports program, they turned their lives around, became extroverted, became leaders of the club. Um, and I guarantee you will see that if you adopt a program. And I know engagement is a big problem right now for a lot of schools, especially switching over to online. Um, but you can bring it back. You can bring those kids back if you start a team. And once everything goes back to normal, the best way to run a club is have everybody in person. So you'll want the right equipment. Um, but as with esports, you don't have to be in the same location. You can play online. I don't think that's the best practice, but we are surviving. As like I said, most sports are shutting down, and esports is thriving. It's even growing even more at this point. Um, yeah, so esports in schools have proven to increase attendance, GPA, and overall student engagement. We also have a curriculum that we give out for free that schools can adopt, and we've seen a huge success in that as well. It's not just playing games, but it's teaching social emotional learning and college career readiness skills through gaming. So if you want to learn more about this curriculum, it's on our website. I'll share that information at the end of this presentation, but that's also a great way to get your kids engaged. Uh, that alongside with an esports team, even better results. So I know a lot of schools don't want to go full all in with every game that we offer. A lot of schools do just start with one small team, and then once they see the success with those students that come into the program, they'll expand out, and they're ready to help you out to expand. Um, we do offer a lot of titles. They range from rated E for everyone to mature rated. It's up to you what you allow your students to play through our platform. So if you set a club up with us or a program, you have full control of what those students are playing representing your school. Um, I will say the mature rated games are our most popular. And so a ton of schools are adopting them, but you go at your own pace, start with what you want to do. And then once you see the results, you'll want to go all in. Recognizing esports as a sport gives opportunity for resources. This is true. As you may know, if a program is adopted as a sport or an activity at your school, an official activity, it opens up to funding. We're also partnered with STEM.org, where schools can receive STEM grants. A lot of schools have grant writers, so we have that information on our website as well. We can point you to the right place to receive those grants. And as I was saying, being in person, having the right equipment is very important. So you can upgrade your labs for esports, but you can also use that for other classes. Of course, you do what you want with your equipment, but um, it's definitely the way to go. once things go back to normal, you'll want a lab. There's tons of research out there that video games are actually good. And if you can harness the power of esports and create a successful program, you can turn these kids' lives around, and you'll see all the benefits that a traditional sports or traditional activity or sport give. So, teaching leadership, teamwork, all those intrinsic values that you get from everything else, you'll get that from esports, and you will be changing a lot of lives. Oh, sorry, I screwed up there. We do the High School Esports League right now, but we will be expanding into middle school in the fall. And we already have a ton of interest. A few hundred schools are already wanting to sign up for the fall. We'll be offering games that are rated E for everyone. So if you know anybody that knows anybody in the middle school sector, point them my way, and I'll get you guys set up for the fall. It's a different process than signing up for the high school league, but you can find all that information on our website, highschoolesportsleague.com. And again, you'll have my email. Just email me anytime with any question, and I'll get you set up. And we have had some interest from elementary schools. So what you'll see is a full pipeline from elementary all the way up to college and then after, and we'll be offering that pipeline. So we also run youth leagues, corporate leagues, military leagues. The high school one is just how we started. And it's grown so big, and we've had so much interest from other organizations that we're able to service those orgs. And so we have a full-time staff that runs all the tournaments, gets everybody set up. If you have any questions, they're there to answer it. I know it's new for everyone, but we're there. We're the experts. We'll get you to the place you want to be. And again, the earlier you adopt these programs, the better chance you give these kids to succeed in an industry that they want to be a part of. So even just starting small is giving an advantage to these students. There's a ton of research that this is a good thing, and I can point you to that research if you have any questions about it. But it's really cool to see all the success stories that come our way. So I'm glad you guys showed up to this to learn more, and you're on the right path if you haven't started already. Yeah, so turn it over to Tanner.
I'll put this back into present mode. Let's see. Okay, well, it shows my pregame music on the comm piano. I can't figure out to get it into present mode, but
sorry about that.
No, you're all good. It could have been my fault too. But anyways, so thank you, Charles, for that information. I wanted to speak a little bit on what we offer here at MicroK12. I know this esports thing can be overwhelming. You guys probably don't know a lot about it right now. That's the purpose of this webinar. So hopefully we can educate you. So here at Micro, we offer all the esports hardware and furniture that you guys would need at great prices. We offer engraving and delivery. And most importantly, we offer a helping hand for you to build an esports program. And so that comes with planning, consulting. We want to be there for you. Like I said, it can be a stressful time. We've worked with a lot of local schools for over 35 years, so we want to be that resource for you. And moving forward, I wanted to show you guys a little bit about our products that we offer. But before I dive into specifics, it's important for you guys to know that there's so many different options for hardware in the esports world. There's different games that require different specs. So you don't necessarily need to get the highest end esports equipment if you're only going to be playing a game such as League of Legends. So that's important to know. We can be a resource, like I said, to understand those specs. I know there was a question in here by Tanya about that. So the best thing, I can read off those specs. I can figure out what your school is interested in and all of that. So if you wanted to reach out to me, I can help you with your guys' planning. So here's a look. This is HP Omen. We offer that. There's a little picture of their line. Legion by Lenovo. That's another company that we offer. They have an awesome esports line. Asus, MSI, and then I included HP in there as well. This is separate from HP Omen, but they offer workstations that can offer as a design lab with esports. So if they're more high end, then you can make it work for the design and esports. So now we're gonna turn it on to the Q&A. If McKay hasn't answered your question, then I'll try and get to it. I'll click into the Q&A section. Any suggestions on how to get funding for equipment? Yeah, so there's a lot of different directions pointed for specific grants and funding. We know that those run out quick, but there's options. Charles, do you want to expand a little bit on that? I know that you guys have a nonprofit that works with you.
Yeah, we're partnered with the Varsity Esports Foundation. So if your school is Title I or has at least 25% free and reduced lunch students, they'll be able to help you out with funding for league fees and eventually for equipment. So just email me. I'll get you the links to those folks. We also have Fund My Team that we're partnered with that does a online fundraising program. So they take all your contacts and they'll reach out just and do fundraising for you. They don't take anything up front. Only after the campaign has ended will they take a percentage. So yeah, there's also the grants. That's on our website. So highschoolesportsleague.com. You go there and it's under the top right under school programs. You'll be able to find all the funding options that we offer. And if you need any additional help, feel free to email me and I'll try and get you to the right person.
And I know there was a question about Charles' contact information. Both of our contact information will be on the next slide. And so another question was, what's the financial investment to upgrade a lab? What does the ideal gaming lab consist of? And this is from Bob. And so Bob, this is another question that it really depends on what game your school is interested in. Like I said, the HP workstations can work as a dual lab for design and other uses that your school would have for a higher end computer. But if your school is more interested in a high end game that requires an advanced processor, then that's another ordeal. So it would really have to point in the direction of what your school is interested in, what games they're interested in. Charles, you want to expand on that?
Yeah, so we have a list of minimum spec requirements and recommended spec requirements for all the games that we offer. If you need that information, just email me and I can get you that list. And then I'm sure everything that you guys offer will match what these games require. So, but again, some people just want to build out their own stuffs or they just need to do a little upgrade. We have that list of what you need. There's another question most varsity sports are not national. Can this be broken down by 10-team leagues and then into a individual state champion? Yes, we can do that. We can run region-based or state-based tournaments. Just contact me and I'll set that up for you. And it doesn't have to go with our schedule. It can be whatever schedule you want. We'll craft it with you. It's a different pricing than the National League, but it's very affordable, and we offer it to anybody. If you can bring the teams, that is. You bring the schools, we'll run the tournament.
Awesome. And then Charles, Bob wanted to know on top of that, the internet capabilities and yeah, answer that one and then I'll give you the next one.
Internet capabilities.
Expounding upon the game requirements and what they would need in their lab is what I'm assuming.
I'm not sure. Hold on. All right, the bandwidth for the internet, is that the question?
Yeah.
It's most of our most schools have good enough internet, and especially since our programs are after school and nobody's really bogging down the network at that point, you should be good to go. It really doesn't take much. It doesn't take a lot of bandwidth to run these games. Let me know what your download speed and upload speed is, and then I can give you the thumbs up or thumbs down. And it depends if you're going to have a team of 6 kids playing or a team of 60 or a bunch of teams playing at the same time. So it really depends on the size of this, how many students you're bringing per day. We do not support League of Legends at this point. We ran it for many years, and then the company that owns it told us to not run it anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
So
And then
what would be the best person in a district to contact about getting started? For example, I have a ton of tech directors and athletic directors. I'd say starting with either of those would be good. Especially tech directors are the ones that are pretty hands-on with the new labs. So yeah, anybody, tech director, administrator, or athletic director, please, yeah, start there, and then I can set up a call. We can do whatever you need to walk through every step of getting something set up. We're very hands-on.
And then Charles, how does that come into play, reaching out with the tech director or the athletic director when they want to decide if they're going to use it as under the athletics or under what would be the other options?
It really depends on the school. I see it go under an activity or just a basic club, or some are going full varsity and making it a sport. It really just depends. We're fine with either, and I think whatever option gives the program more funding is the best option. But some schools can't and won't adopt it as a sport just yet. But we'll get there.
Perfect.
Cost per student for the fall. For our national league, it'll be $40 per student for the fall tournament. We also offer annual passes. If you want to buy a pass for all 4 tournaments we offer throughout the year, plus any one-off tournaments we run, it will be $89 per student. And then if you have a ton of kids, we offer unlimited bundles. Just email me and I can get you the cost breakdown of that. If you go with the unlimited bundle with us, you get a ton of extra perks, and I'll go over that with you. I also have a webinar that I hosted that's on our YouTube page that I can link to you. It gives you more info on that.
And Williams, where can I find which colleges are already doing this?
So again, there's 2,000 that have clubs, but the ones with varsity programs, you can go to nacesports.org. So yeah, nacesports.org, and that will have a list of colleges that are looking and running program or looking for new recruits, and they have a giant list of programs that are running right now.
Yeah. And then, so out of this webinar series, our fourth webinar, our third one will be local school districts who have adopted an esports program and showing their, I guess, their story, and then, or advice. And then our fourth webinar will also be with colleges. So Boise State University, who's one of the top esports programs in the nation, they'll be on that panel. And then some local colleges like Peninsula College. We'll have a few more, some awesome speakers who will shed some light on the benefits of that.
What is the difference between HSEL and other companies such as PlayVersus? We run a ton more games. I don't know how they operate, but I can say that we're very hands-on and we can customize things to your needs. And we're also a cheaper option. Less expensive, I should say.
Cool. And then McKay or Jackson, will you input Micro's esports page? This will be a good page for you guys to see a little bit more about what we offer here at MicroK12. I gave you the brief introduction. It'll allow you to sign up for the second, third, and fourth webinar. And we'll also have a follow-up email so you can sign up for those ones as well. If we have any last questions, feel free to input those. We'll give you guys a little bit. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for attending. If you have any questions, reach out. Oh, it looks like we might have a couple questions. Okay. Do we get a link so I could send this to an athletic director? Carl, so yeah, we will send you a recording of this webinar, and you can send it off to your athletic director. If you have any more information you want, then you can send that to my email, and I'd be more than willing to reach out to your athletic director. And then this one, Charles, you want to answer the one from Joel? Does HSEL plan on adding middle schools at any point?
Yeah. I mentioned that earlier. This fall, we will be running a middle school esports league. Just email me and I can get you on the list to send out when we open up the website for signups. Could you share my email on the screen?
Oh yeah, let me go to that one. Perfect. Okay, and then Bob. So Bob said, who is the audience today? You have mentioned Washington a couple times. Is this just for Washington High School? So the answer is no. Charles works a lot with the East Coast. He works with the whole nation. We are based in Washington, but we work with nearby states as well. We work with Idaho, we work with Oregon, we work with Utah, California. So we're based in Washington, so that's why you've probably heard Washington a couple times, but that's the answer for that.
Is the WIAA the Washington, what organization is that?
Yeah, that is Washington.
Yeah, I've heard rumblings that they're looking to adopt esports pretty soon. So I haven't been approached, but we'll definitely reach out to them to help them.
Perfect. Awesome. You have mentioned tournaments. Do schools have after school practices? Is there more expense to have practices? Charles?
So I recommend that the students meet up at least once a week in person. I know that's not possible right now, but to practice together. You can do it online as well, but we will have scrimmage windows open up on our website to where if you just want to practice with other teams, you just log in, you'll be matched up with another team that's ready to go, and you can have a practice. It doesn't count towards anything, and that will be free. You just have to be an official club with us. So you sign up as a school, we'll approve you, and then you can get your kids into those scrimmages.
Awesome. Alrighty. Well, there's our contact information. Sorry I didn't get that sooner. Feel free to reach out to any of us as a resource. Thank you guys for attending. I don't see any more questions coming in, so we'll send that follow-up email. Wait, hold on. Okay. Alrighty. Well, thank you, Charles. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And we will see you guys next Thursday at 11 a.m.
Thank you.